Welcome back to the Kai Chronicles Lone Wolf series. Oh, where's my chat box gone? There we go. Welcome in, Omara. I tried these after your stream the other day, but when I died in book 2 and clicked restart book 2, it deleted all my book 1 progress, so I stopped. Well, that's how it's supposed to work. That's like following the rules of the book correctly. If you want to keep your book 1 progress, you would have to save the JSON file and then reload that JSON file next time. But if you're following the book, the instructions in the book, like to the letter, you don't get to keep your book 1 progress if you die. So if you successfully make it from one book to the next, you get a bonus skill and you get to keep your items from that book. But if you die and you restart the book you're on, then according to the rules, you create a new character and you don't get to keep any items from before, and you don't get that bonus skill. That's just how it works. So realistically, it'll be if you're following the rules of the books, it'll be very, very unlikely to actually keep a character going through the books, even if you do everything correctly, because there's a lot of RNG where you just insta die. But yeah, I mean the website's coded correctly according to the books, but if you wanted to get around that, then you can use the just save a checkpoint using the JSON file. I'm just following the rules of the books, so like I restarted book 2, so now I just have to create a new character. All right. So we've just started a new run of book 2. Let me resize these. Oh, okay. All right, let's have a look. So we've got base 18 skill. That's really good, isn't it? 8 is a high roll. Endurance is decent. I chose these skills. We've got mace, and you start with a mace. And I chose a shield, because shield's really good as well. That adds 2 points to combat skill. That's great. Alright, so let's begin. Alright, so I'm not gonna read all this stuff out again, but I'll just kind of summarize it. So in book 2, we are given a mission so in book 1 we reached Holmgard, and then they've given us a ship, and we're going to go to... I don't remember. Do they say? The Green Scepter is our ship. I don't remember where our mission is to go. I think we are going all the way here to Hammerthal. That's where we get the Summer Sword. It's quite a long way. Probably take several books to get there. Alright. So, let's go. Alright, so we get given a ship, the Green Scepter, and we're told to meet with Ronan, who is like our guide. And then immediately someone grabs us. Should we try to pull free this time? And it turns out to be Ronan. But he grabbed us for some reason. Oh, but he's a baddie. We know that. He's gonna betray us. Why did your race get delayed? Oh, I don't know the reason. Gallops told me that will be rescheduling for November. Well, probably not November. Maybe late November or December. Or January. What do we do here? Oh, we can do any of these. Alright, let's demonstrate our animal kinship by talking to the mouse. Feeling hungry, you say, peering at the two busy house mice in the far corner. Perhaps you would care for some cheese. Using your kite discipline, you order the two mice to bring the cheese to you. The sailor looks on in amazement as the two furry creatures deposit the cheese at your feet and then scurry away. And then, of course, he betrays us, as before. Now we have to fight a bunch of thugs. Alright, let's go. Combat ratio 8, we're gonna win this easily. And... oh, they're on 1 endurance. Okay, let's just kill them. Ronan escaped. They have... okay, something more important to note is that they've got serpent tattoos on their wrists. So, like, the book shows us pictures sometimes of people we meet. If we see tattoos on their wrists of serpents, we've got to be suspicious. They might be one of these thugs working for the Dark Lords. So, I want to keep an eye out for that. So we found the real Ronan. He's been killed. Should we hunt down the imposter? But he gets away. Right. So anyway, we get to our boat. And... we set out to sail. Okay, so we're going to Duranor. Have a look. Duranor is this side. We're going across the coast. Yeah, okay. Random number. The following morning, you are woken by the cry of the ship's lookout high in the crow's nest. Ship ahoy! Ship off the starboard bow! You've climbed up on deck and braced yourself against the fresh sea breeze. On the horizon, you can see the wooded coastline of eastern Summerland. But in the middle distance is a merchant ship that looks badly damaged. It is low in the water and has only one mast remaining intact. It flies the flag of Duranor, but the flag is upside down, a signal of distress. You urge the captain to investigate the vessel, but he ignores your plea and orders the crew to continue with their duties. As the trading ship disappears from view, you stare at it and wonder why the captain was so reluctant to do anything. You descend below deck and take care to lock the door of your cabin behind you. Maybe he just wants to be careful of pirates. Alright, we've been in this stage before. There was a smoke, so we shouted fire. That makes sense. Let's do that again. We managed to put out the fire, but we lose a bunch of food and water. This was something people set up. Somebody on the ship set up this as a sabotage to start the fire. Now there's a ship. Another ship. We'll follow him. It seems our bird has flown, says the captain, pointing to a longboat moving swiftly towards another ship on the horizon. She flies no flag, and her hull is of a strange shape. I've never before seen the like. You watch as the longboat reaches the mysterious ship. As if by magic, a sea fog appears from nowhere and engulfs the vessel. Moments later, both the ship and the fog have disappeared. Alright. You hear whispering among the crew and catch the words ghost ships and cursed voyage, but the whispering stops when the captain's voice calls for all hands on deck. A silence descends on the Green Scepter as Captain Kelman addresses the crew in a loud voice. Men, we are 3 days' sail from Port Bax, but with a strong wind and a stout heart we'll drop anchor and feast therein too. The fire has claimed many of our provisions and rations and are hereby cut to 1 meal a day. Okay, we've seen this before. So, we can eat with the captain or with the crew. Last time we ate with the crew and it was a crappy meal. Let's eat with the captain then. The meal is poor. Well, even if we eat with the captain? Okay. It is made up of yesterday's leftovers, and what the captain tells you as you finish your meager supper confirms your suspicions. I have a confession to make, High Lord. The fire destroyed our entire food store. We had barely enough in the galley for this meal. Fear that we will have to survive on a diet of fresh fish until we reach Port Bax. Well, I like fresh fish. Unless you have food in your backpack, the poor meal leaves you hungry and you lose 2 endurance points. Alright. After dinner, the captain challenges you to a game of Samor, a board game a little like chess, involving skillful strategy and bluff. Adds a little excitement, he suggests a small wager. Sure, why not? Captain Kelman unlocks a display case and removes a Samor board. The beautifully carved playing pieces are already in position when he carefully sets it down on the table. After somewhat reluctantly agreeing to a wager of 10 gold crowns, you begin the game. Do we have Sixth Sense? Yeah, we do. So, high number is good. Alright, pick a number. 6 plus 2. 8. Alright, this might be good. Congratulations, Lone Wolf, says the captain as he wipes the sweat from his furrowed brow. You are a masterful player. He reaches into his waistcoat pocket and hands you a small pouch containing 10 gold crowns. You thank him for the game and offer him the chance to win back his stake the following evening. With a wry smile, he accepts your offer and bids you good night. Oh, fuck. This again. So last time we did this, we rolled a random number and we just died. Like, the mast fell on us and we died. I don't remember, it's probably 1 to 4. And that's like basically 50% chance. Oh my god. Here we go again. Alright. So there's a storm and the mast breaks. 9? Okay, thank goodness. It's like... There's like a 50% chance of outright dying at that point. Like these... There's so many of these situations where it's like a quite high chance of just ending the game right there, which is kind of annoying, but... Whatever, it's a perilous journey. As the mast smashes into the deck, a splintered beam hits your head and you're knocked overboard. Gasping for air, you fight your way to the surface and catch hold of a hatch cover. You are half stunned. You lose 2 endurance points. Man, we should always take healing ability. Like, it's really the only decent way to get back your endurance. It really is really worth having. We don't have the chainmail waistcoat. You feel dizzy and sick. As the heaving sea buffets you relentlessly, like a buffet, you gradually slip into unconsciousness. When you awake many hours later, the storm has passed. Why does this always happen in fiction? Like stories. People fall unconscious at sea and then wake up adrift. Like, you would just die if you were unconscious. You can't swim, you can't float, you just drown. When you awake many hours later, the storm has passed. By the position of the sun, you judge it to be late afternoon. Like, we're not even on a driftwood or something. We're in the water. Are we? Paddle. Oh no, we are. Oh, we're on a hatch cover. Still, you'd probably die if you were unconscious. Alright. In the distance you can see a small fishing boat, and beyond it on the horizon land. Wait, we should change the music. We've just gone overboard. The only trace of the green scepter is the hatch cover on which you now sit. Yeah, let's signal the fishing boat. You desperately wave your kai cloak above your head until you are near to exhaustion. You are in luck, for the boat has seen your distress signal. And is heading towards you. It is a small fishing boat from the port of Ragadorn. The fishermen are a rough-looking bunch, but they wrap you in a warm blanket and offer you some food. The captain suggests that you sleep, as it will be 2 or 3 hours before they arrive back in Ragadorn. I'll stay awake. Ragadorn is there. It's like midway. It is nearly dark when the small fishing boat passes through the harbour entrance of Ragadorn. You have still seen no sign of survivors from the storm, and you fear the worst. You notice that 3 of them fishermen are acting very suspiciously. They whisper to each other and their eyes often glance at your money pouch. Why is everybody suspicious? Everybody's against me. As the boat sails into the estuary of the River Dawn, they surround you and demand that you hand over all your gold. You're about to fight them when an unexpected blow from behind knocks you to the deck. You see one of the fishermen raise his foot. As it strikes your head, suddenly everything fades into darkness. Why does this always happen? Oh my god, we just lost everything. Kept our shield. All our money. When you awake, you are shocked to find yourself lying beneath a wooden jetty, and the shallow water surrounding you fills your nostrils with a foul stench. As you stand, your head throbs violently as if you had been knocked unconscious. This is exactly what has happened to you, and your gold, your backpack, your weapons, and all your special items, including the seal of Hammerdal, have been stolen by the fishermen. There's a little footnote saying, in the collector's edition you do not lose any of your special items except for the seal of Hammerdal. You may choose to follow these instructions instead. Alright. I will keep my shield, thank you. With a groan of despair, you climb out of the slimy water and pour yourself onto the jetty. Looking up, you see a faded sign. Welcome to Ragadorn. Fear the rumors about this place are true. It is nearly dark and it has started to rain. You must find the seal if you are to persuade Duranese to give you the summer sword. Looking around, you see a large market square with a stone signpost in the center, indicating the various roads that lead up the square. Ugh. Going back to the jetty makes the most sense. Like, if we can find the fishing boat, if they haven't set off again. There are many ships of all sizes and nationalities moored on this side of the harbor. The River Dawn, which divides the city of Ragadorn, is always busy. You're about to give up your search when you spot the thieves' fishing boat. There's nobody aboard, but a thorough search of the cabin reveals a mace and 3 gold crowns hidden inside a folded hammock. The hammock bears a label that reads, North Star Tavern, Barnacle Street. We'll take the mace. That happens to be what we need. Alright, so we've got 3 gold crowns. North Star Tavern, Barnacle Street. Well, let's try and catch up to them. 30 yards along on the left side of the street, you hear the sound of merriment drifting out from a large ramshackle building. There's a creaking sign above the door. Sure, let's go in. The tavern is full of brigands and drunks. The good-for-nothing crews of trading ships moored at the jetty, all singing and drinking, while some try their strength at arm wrestling. All are so engrossed that nobody notices you enter. In a far corner, you see the fishermen that robbed you. They are seated at a round table covered with empty ale tankards. You know that if you are to reach Durano in time, you must retrieve the seal of Hamadal and your gold. Alright, should we just confront them? Please don't let this be an insta-death. The fishermen stare at you with open mouths as if they have just seen a corpse return from the dead. Suddenly one of them kicks over the table and they make their escape through the back door of the tavern. In one bound, you leap over the table and pursue them out of the tavern into the darkness beyond. Yeah, keep up with them. We need that stuff. The back door opens onto a small square, in the center of which is a large tomb. The fishermen have disappeared into the gloomy streets. All, that is, except one who has slipped on the wet cobblestones and knocked himself out. He is lying in the gutter with his face submerged in a puddle. You roll him over with your foot and search him. You discover 5 gold crowns, a dagger, and to your great relief, the seal of Hamadal on his finger. Alright. We have a look at the tomb. It's just a random tomb. It is the crypt of Killian the Overlord. He had been ruler of Ragadorn, but he and many others in Ragadorn died during an outbreak of Red Death Plague 3 years ago. You suddenly recall a journeyman of your monastery called Swift Fox. He told you tales of his many travels to Ragadorn. The Red Death killed over half the population here. It also killed Swift Fox. What else should we do? We've got the important thing. That is the seal of Hamadal. We've got a mace. That's also very important. We've got 8 gold crowns. We could try and get more money, but... we lost our backpack again. Go to the tavern. As you re-enter the tavern, you can see that most of the sailors are clustered around the center table to watch an arm wrestling contest. Should we enter the contest? A grim-looking sailor is challenging all comers to an arm wrestling contest. He is so confident of winning that he will pay 5 gold crowns to anyone who beats him. As you approach his table, a serving girl whispers in your ear, "Be careful, stranger. He is an evil man. He breaks the arms of those who lose, and murders anyone who beats him." As you face the sailor across the table, bets are made throughout the tavern. If you have the Kai discipline of Mind Blast, turn to 14, okay? As the contest begins, you use your Kai discipline to weaken your opponent's concentration. Beads of sweat stand out on his forehead, and his eyes gradually close as he withers under your relentless Mind Blast. In less than a minute, he is collapsed to the floor, completely unconscious. There is a shocked silence as you scoop up the 5 gold crowns from the table and turn to leave. But as you reach the tavern door, an ugly thug draws his sword and blocks your exit. Just as you are wondering what to do, there is a loud thud and the man keels over onto the floor. Behind him, to your surprise, stands the serving girl with a large wooden club in her hand. You thank her politely and race out of the door into the darkened street beyond. After running for 10 minutes in the dark, you spot a large stable and coach station through the gloom ahead. With the shouts of angry sailors still ringing in your ears, you quickly enter the building and spend the night safely hidden in the hayloft. You awake at dawn to the sound of a shrill cockcrow. You can see the crooked streets of Ragadan through a veil of heavy rain beating down on the cobblestones outside. It has been 6 days since you left Holmgard, and you are still 200 miles from Port Bax. You are in the loft of a very large coach station. A group of green-clad men have arrived and have started to clean out one of the coaches. You overhear one of them say that the coach leaves for Port Bax at 1 o'clock this afternoon, and that the journey will take 7 days. So we don't need. Let's ask to buy a ticket. How much does it cost? 20 gold crowns. We've got 13. Opposite the coach station is a narrow street leading to a gaming house with a sign outside. No weapons allowed inside. You are excited by the chance of being able to win some gold, and you quickly enter. Any weapons you may have must be left with a guard at the door. You can recover your weapons when you decide to leave. You are given a silver token worth 1 gold crown that can only be used in this gaming house. Does it actually give us the silver token? No, okay, well we just remember that we have it. Oh, it counts as a gold crown, okay. The entrance hall opens out into a huge room where many gambling games are in progress. One that catches your eye is called Cartwheel. At one end of a long table, an attractive young woman spins a black dish divided into 10 sections marked 0 to 9. As the dish spins, she drops a small silver ball into which eventually comes to rest in one of the numbered sections. Several merchants are seated around the table, and they are betting heavily on the fall of the silver ball. To play Cartwheel, you must first decide the number you would like to bet on, and just how many gold crowns you would like to stake. Make a note of these numbers, and then pick a number from the random number table. If you pick exactly the same number, you win 8 gold crowns for every 1 gold crown that you gamble. If the number you pick is immediately before or after the correct choice, you win 5 gold crowns for every 1 gold crown you stake. There is a limit to how much you can win on this table, 40 gold crowns. You may play as many rounds of Cartwheel as you wish until either you lose your gold crowns or you decide to pick up your winnings. Interesting. Probably just bet 1 crown at a time. Is it like, are we favored here? Is the casino just basically going to lose money? Like, let's think. You got a. Let me. I need pen and paper. There's. 0 to 9. Okay, so there's 10 slots. If you get it right, with a 1 in 10 chance, you will get 8. So if you bet 1 gold crown, you'll get 8 if you get it right. And the 2 spaces either side, so that's basically 2 in 10 chance of happening, you would get 5. And then any other space, so that leaves 7 out of 10 spaces, you would get 0. So your expected earnings are... $1.8. So if you bet 1 gold coin, you're expected to get back 1.8. So you're just gonna make money. You just have to bet 1 crown at a time. Let's bet on, I don't know, 6. Wow. We immediately got 8 gold crowns. Okay. Let's just keep doing that. Got 5 gold crowns. Okay. Keep going. Like, in theory, we should just keep gaining money, unless we go bankrupt, but that's why we bet small each time. This is the Kelly criterion. The Kelly criterion says that if you're playing a game which is in your favor, then there is a certain percentage of your wealth that you should bet, which is optimal. If you bet more than that percentage, you're probably going to go bankrupt before you get a chance to get rich. If you bet less than that percentage, that's okay. That's alright as well. But if you bet, you want to bet the Kelly criterion. That's the optimal way. I don't know what the Kelly criterion is here. I can't be bothered to calculate it, but just keep going. $40. Yes. We're rich. So how much money do we have now? 50. Nice. Alright. We're well equipped. We've got the mace, we've got a shield. Let's buy a ticket. You pocket the ticket, and the man takes you to a coach that is waiting near the east gate of the seaport. It is empty, and you take a seat near one of its circular windows. You are relieved to find that the seat is quite comfortable. For the journey to Portbacks will take 7 days. Stowing your equipment beneath the seat, you settle back in comfort and doze off. When you awake, there are 5 other passengers and the journey to Durano has already begun. After only half an hour, the coach is stopped by some armed horsemen. They wear the black ship and red crest emblem of Lachlan, the overlord of Ragadorn. They demand gold in payment for what they call exit taxes, 1 crown from each passenger. Alright. We'll do it. During the course of the afternoon's journey, you chat with your fellow travelers and learn about their backgrounds. Ganon, Doria, Alvork, Tarjan, Viveka. Tarjan looks particularly suspicious. Sitting opposite are two brothers named Ganon and Doria. They are knights in the Order of the White Mountain, warrior lords of Dorina who have pledged allegiance to protect the country from raids by the bandits of the Wildlands. They own a castle and land near Port Bax. Next to them sits Halvork the Merchant. His nose is swollen and his face is badly bruised thanks to Lakram, the overlord of Ragaddorn. A little misunderstanding about Portax has lost him his cargo and most of his gold. Seated by the far door is a priest called Parjon. Like you, he is a somlending who has journeyed across the wildlands by coach on his way to Port Bax. Beside you sits a young woman called Viveka. She is a mercenary adventuress who earns the gold by fighting for it and sells her services to the highest bidder. She is returning to Port Bax, having collected payment for a successful adventure in Ragaddorn. Not wishing to reveal your true identity, you have pretended to be a simple peasant. The travelers seem unaware of the war that now rages in Summerland. At dusk, the coach stops at an inn on the coast road to Port Bax. The cost of a room for the night is 1 gold crown for coach passengers and 3 gold crowns for anyone else. As you are about to enter, the coach driver demands to see your ticket. The driver nods and hands back the ticket. The inn is warm but poorly furnished. You must eat a meal here, which will cost you 1 gold crown unless you have a meal in your backpack. The high discipline of hunting cannot be used when instructed to eat a meal on your journey through the wildlands. Okay. Honestly, might as well just not eat, because we get back the endurance in 3 turns because of our healing ability. Just starve ourselves on purpose. But we'll pay the 1 gold for the room. You sleep deeply without being disturbed before rising at dawn, gathering your equipment and joining the others as they board the coach. For 2 days and nights, the coach follows the trade route across the flat, treeless wildlands. It stops only to allow the driver to sleep. But on the morning of the 9th day of your quest, there is an unfortunate accident. You are traveling along a narrow section of coast road which follows a dizzy course beneath high overhanging cliffs. A rock fall has blocked the road ahead and you must stop to clear it. You are helping the driver to lever a large rock from the path of the carriage when you hear the sound of falling rocks. A boulder crashes down from the overhanging cliff, killing the driver before you can make any attempt to save him. What? He was standing less than 6 feet away from you at the time of his death. I think someone did that on purpose. You sense that someone is on the cliff above and that you were the intended victim of their attack. Someone is trying to kill you. Slowly, one by one, the other travelers appear and stare in shock at the dead coachman. We must bury him, says the priest. You silently nod your agreement and prepare a grave in which to lay the corpse. As you all walk back to the coach, you discuss what should be done. I know the road to Port Bax. I had better drive the coach, volunteers Halvork. I do hope we're not blamed for his death, says the priest nervously. It was an act of the gods, says Dorian. I shall testify to that, says Ganon. Lies are never spoken by knights of the White Mountain. Sure. It is true that in Durinor, a true knight will speak only the truth, whether for his own good or ill. His words seem to reassure the priest, and you are all soon once more on the road, heading towards the eastern horizon. It is late in the afternoon when you arrive at a coach station in a small coastal village known as Gorn Cove, which is mainly populated by outcasts, thieves, and shawls. The death of the coachman is met by the villagers with great suspicion, but Doria's words convince them it was accidental. There is only one inn at the village, a tavern known as the Forlorn Hope. Its state of disrepair is typical of all the other hovels in this poor sea village. A room for the night costs 1 gold crown. It was one of us, surely. One of the people in this coach that killed him. In which case we should leave. We should abandon this coach. Why are we sticking with it? The innkeeper is a thin old man with only one eye. He hands you a key and points to a balcony opposite. Number 2, the red door, he says. The other travelers each pay their 1 crown, collect a key, and make their way across the crowded tavern floor towards the stairs. We must make plans for tomorrow, says Dorian. The others all nod in agreement. I suggest we meet here in the bar in 1 hour to decide what to do. As you close the red door of your room, for some unknown reason you recall the words of Captain Kelman when you left Holmgard Harbour. There is evil treachery at work, and the enemy already has plans afoot to thwart your quest. An hour has nearly passed when your thoughts are disturbed by a knock at the door. It is the innkeeper, and he is carrying a tray of hot food. With the compliments of one of your friends, he says, and leaves before you can ask which one. You have not eaten today, and the food smells most appetizing. It's poisoned, isn't it? I'm not going to eat it. Although the delicious smell of the food is making your mouth water, you suspect that something is very wrong. You set the tray down by the door. Your hunger has made you tired, and you decide to take a short nap before meeting the others in the bar. When you awake, you see the bodies of 2 dead rats lying beside the food tray. They have been poisoned. The shock soon turns to anger when you realize that the poison was in the food intended for you. You grab your equipment and leave the room, intent on discovering your would-be assassin. By the time you reach the bar, the others are all seated at a large table awaiting your appearance. Drawing closer to the table, you realize you have found your would-be assassin. You will have to attack without giving any warning to your enemy, so study your fellow travelers carefully and then make your decision. Wait, do you remember their faces? Okay, this guy was the merchant, Halvok. These 2 are the knights. Doria and Ganon. That's Viveka. That on the left is Parjan. Oh, and he's got the tattoo. He's got the snake tattoo. Like, if they would just, you know, like hide their tattoo and not have it in the first place, then, you know, it'd be easier for them to get me. It's Parjan. The priest does not seem to be surprised by her attack, and he draws a black sword from beneath his robes. Ooh. Dead in 2 hits. Searching the body, you discover all you need to prove that he was the assassin. Inside his pockets you find a half-empty vial of Nadern sap, the deadly poison that was used to taint your food. Then there is a scroll written in Jiak, giving details of your expected arrival in Port Bax. He must have located you at Ragadorn and hatched his murder plans there. You notice that the weapon he carries is a Dark Lord blade, fashioned of black steel and forged in the furnaces of Helgadad, the infernal city of the Dark Lords beyond the Derncrag range. Helgadad is not on this map, is it? It's beyond. Derncrag range? Is that? Yeah, behind these mountains. Only there in all of vast Magnamond can black steel be made, but the final proof of his true identity is the serpent tattoo on his left wrist. The harbour thugs who attempted to kill you before you had even left Holmgard bore exactly the same mark. The other travellers stare with horror and disbelief at what you have done. Before you can explain yourself, there is a loud crash as the front door is thrown open. In rush 6 armoured soldiers led by the innkeeper. They are the town guard, and the one-eyed innkeeper is screaming at them to arrest you. I really want to fight 6 armored soldiers. Let's escape. Although night has fallen, a full moon casts a bright light upon the village. Behind the tavern, you see a small, wheelwright shop with 2 horses hitched to a hay cart. Let's take the horse. You spur the horse along the twisted village street, cross a wooden bridge, and up a steep path towards the crest of the cove. In the light of the moon, you catch a glimpse of a signpost pointing eastwards. 50 miles, okay. You ride all night without sleep. As the dawn breaks, you are greeted by a startling change of landscape. Barren wildlands have given way to moors and waterlogged fens, and a dark shadow runs the length of the eastern horizon for as long as the eye can see. This is the Duranor Forest, the natural frontier of the Mountain Kingdom where it borders the untamed wildlands. It is indeed a welcome sight. You are no more than a day's ride from Port Bax, but you are tired after your night ride and you must eat a meal or lose 3 endurance points. We haven't eaten this whole adventure. How are we doing? We're pretty healthy. After an hour's ride, you come to a fork in the road. There's no signpost. Alright, go left. The road follows a course along a high grassy ridge for many miles before turning northwards to the coast. You pass a village where the houses curve in a circle around a large pond of stagnant water. As you ride through, a gaggle of Charles children come running towards you, shouting and throwing stones. You descend into the deep valley beyond, and gradually the moor gives way to richer land that has been cleared and ploughed. The hillside opposite is heavily wooded. You are not far from the coast, and you can see the tall cliffs with their multicolored bands of rock jutting out into the ocean. Then, just as you are passing through a small copse, you hear desperate cries for help off to your right. Sure, let's help them. You spur your horse through the tangle of trees until you enter a small clearing. 6 Charles are jumping excitedly around the writhing body of a man on the ground. A strangely carved spear is struck in his chest, and lying dead beside him is the body of a knight of the White Mountain. The creatures are shrieking at each other and appear to be unconcerned with the man's obvious agony. Try to save him. You try to apply your hands to the injured man's chest, but the Charles are pulling at your cloak and trying to drag you away. Oh, didn't even have time to put the combat music on. The cowardly Charles squeal in terror and run in all directions to avoid your blows. They have soon fled from the clearing and you turn to help the dying man. He is barely alive and far too weak to talk. We can't pull the spear out. That will kill him. You have to leave the spear in. We'll take the spear, but I don't think that's really the sensible thing to do here. And we've got a magic spear. The carved spear is made of metal, yet it feels as light as if it were made of wood. You notice the shaft is covered in runes and magic emblems. As you carefully pull it from the man's chest, he gives a long sigh of relief. You are about to examine his wound when you feel a searing pain shoot through your head. It is so strong and painful that you collapse to the ground. You are amazed to see the man jump to his feet, and then horrified to see the dreadful change that comes over him. The skin of his face appears to writhe and change color, growing darker and shrinking as it decays on his skull. His eyes burn with a bright red glow, and long fangs protrude from his bottom jaw. You choke with fear as you realize it is a Helghast, a nightmarish agent of the Dark Lords, is attacking you with its powerful mind force. If you do not have the high discipline of Mind Shield, you lose 2 endurance points for every round of combat. Oh fuck. Normal weapons cannot harm it, and it is immune to Mind Blast. You can only wound in combat with a magical spear. Alright. Damn. -2. That's still not too bad. We're still favored to win, but... Alright, let's just hope we get... He's got more endurance than us, but whatever. But we lose 2 endurance every turn, that's the bad thing. Alright. Okay, nice hit there. That was bad. Oh no. Unless we insta-kill him. Damn. We need the Mind Shield next time. Take the Mind Shield instead of Animal Kinship. We didn't even use Animal Kinship. And hopefully we get Spear skill as well. Alright. Start again. Combat skin 11. Oh my god, that's terrible. We're not gonna be fighting him. We're not gonna be winning if we have to avoid him somehow. If we get to that point. I mean, there's different directions we could have gone now. Let's choose camouflage this time. 6th Sense is good. Healing, definitely. It's good to take a weapon skill, really. Mind Shield? Yeah, but we don't want to fight him at all because we'll just lose. Take Mind Blast. Alright, I'll take a broadsword. Wait, so our skill is broadsword. We'll take a broadsword and a shield. We've got terrible combat skill though. Alright, start this again. So we counter this guy. We can just I don't know, do this. Now we fight these guys. How are we doing? 19. We can kill them. Do we want to though, or should we run away? Keep going a bit. Yeah, okay, we win. So we get back to the boat. Alright, this is different. The following morning you are woken by the cry of seagulls as they wheel and soar above the clipper. The wind is strong and it fills the sails. You breakfast with Captain Kalman, who is in better spirits than the previous day. He tells you that the Green Scepter is making good speed and should arrive in Port Bax, the main Journey's seaport, within a week. Suddenly you hear a cry from the crow's nest. Land off the port bow, land a port. You and the captain climb up on deck and brace yourselves against the fresh sea breeze. That's Madden, the southernmost island of the Kiel-Lundin chain, says the captain, pointing towards the sharp rocky coastline in the distance. Wreck Point, the traders call it. Many a ship has ended her days on those granite teeth. Captain Kelman hands you an ornate telescope with which to take a closer look. The sharp rocks are festooned with the splintered skeletons of ships that have run aground or were dashed against the shore in a storm. You stare in fascination at the shattered hulls, imagining the terrifying scenes of their destruction. Then suddenly, high above the pinnacles of stone, hovers a black shadow, like a small rain cloud. It seems to be moving towards you. Suddenly you realize what the cloud really is. It is a swarm of large Zlambeast, and possibly some Kran. The alarm is shouted along the deck. Prepare for battle. We're not good at fighting, but let's just fight anyway. Okay, not too bad. You were right. The cloud is made of a huge Zlambeast and many Kran, a smaller species, but one that is just as deadly. Hanging below their black bellies are nets full of jacks. As the Zlambeast descend on the green scepter, a net of shrieking jacks crashes onto the deck behind you. Some are crushed in the fall, but many more have survived and waste no time attacking you. You must fight them as one enemy. Okay, dead. Oof, got 17 still, so we should win this. Fierce battle now rages throughout the ship as the evil Jacks fight to win control of the Green Scepter. At least we got the broadsword. Perched high up in the masts, the Kran are rending the sail with their talons and razor-sharp teeth, whilst the Zlambeast have flown back towards Wreck Point to pick up more nets of malicious Jacks. Through the body-strewn decks, a menacing shape looms. Both Jacks and sailors are cut down by the creature as it advances towards you. It is a Drakar, cruel warrior of the Dark Lords. Raising his jet-black broadsword, he attacks and you must fight him to the death. Ooh, nice. Move in. I should have put the music on. Where is it? Seeing their master slain, the Jacks falter and retreat towards the stern. Captain Kelman rallies his crew and attacks, leading his men against the snarling creatures and driving them back until they leap into the sea to avoid the rain of swords. Knowing the battle to be lost, the Kran leave the masts and fly back to the distant coastline. "Oh, thanks, K-Lord," Captain says and shakes your hand. "We are proud and thankful to have you with us." The cheer resounds along the deck as the crew voice their praise. Help tend the wounded whilst repairs are carried out on the damaged masts. Within 2 hours they're complete, the wind fills the sails, and you continue your voyage to Duranor. Alright, and then we get the fire. So we're healed again. We should just shout fire. That seems by far the best option. Then we go through all this. Eat with the crew. It doesn't matter really. Play portholes with them. Okay. A sailor called Sprog sits beside you and explains the rules of the game Portholes. First, he shows you 2 diamond-shaped dice made of red glass. Each die has 10 sides and they're numbered 0 to 9. Each player rolls both dice and adds the numbers together. If anyone throws 2 zeros, they shout Portholes and automatically win. Each player stakes 3 gold crowns per throw. There are 2 other players in the game and they all place their stake money into a hat before the dice are rolled. Pick 2 numbers from the random number table for each of the other 2 players and note these scores down. Now pick... Alright, I think it does this automatically for us. We've got 6 gold crowns. Should we play again? We're gonna go bankrupt, aren't we? We'll probably keep 6. Alright, now we are doing this again. This time, let's ignore the boat. When you're only 50 yards offshore, you slip into the waves and swim towards land. When you finally reach the beach, you sink your fingers deep into the wet sand and slowly claw your way up the beach to the shelter of some dunes. You are exhausted and very hungry. The only possessions that you have saved are your gold crowns, your backpack, and any special items. So we lose our weapons. And things we had in the backpack. We didn't have anything in the backpack. Right, I'm not gonna eat this. Just kill us. Behind the trees you notice a wide coast running from east to west. In general, we're always going east, aren't we? So let's go east. You walk for over 3 hours along the lonely coast road before night begins to fall. You are very tired and you decide to get some sleep and continue at dawn. You remember the tales told by yokai masters of the wildlands between Summerland and Duranor, where packs of wild dogs roam the wastelands at night. With these stories in mind, you decided to spend the night in the safety of a large leafy tree at the edge of the road. Although you awake to a cold and rain-swept dawn, the branches of the tree and your kai cloak have kept you warm and dry during the night. Looking along the coast road in the distance, you can see a wagon heading towards you. Sure, let's flag it down. It is a large passenger wagon similar to those used by highway travelers of Summerland. The driver pulls the horses to a halt and stares at you from under the wide brim of his hat. You ask where he's bound for. We're bound for Ragadorn, due there by noon today. The seat will cost you 3 gold crowns, but you can ride on the roof for only 1. Wait, is this the coach with the bad guy in it? Let's ride on the roof then. You wrap yourself in the kai cloak and raise the hood. The driver shouts and whips the horses, and soon you are on your way along the tree-lined coast road to Ragadorn. During the journey, you talk to the driver and learn some useful things about the seaport of Ragadorn. Ever since Killian the Overlord died 3 years ago, Ragadorn has been ruled, or misruled according to the driver, by his son Lachlan. It seems that he and his men are nothing more than pirates. They tax the people heavily and murder all who oppose them. At last in the distance you can just make out the city wall of Ragadorn. A bell is tolling. It rings 12 times. Eventually the coach passes through the west gate of the hall and pulls to a halt. If you want to get to Duranor, you can catch a coach from the stable at the east gate. Best hurry, mind, it leaves at 1 o'clock, the driver tells you. You thank the driver for the advice and jump to the cobblestones below. For the first time you suddenly notice the awful stench of this dirty seaport. A rusty sign nailed to a rot-infested house says, "Welcome to Ragadorn." So he says, catch a coach from the stable at the east gate. Alright, let's go east then. This rubbish-strewn cobbled street runs between rows of ramshackle, rot-infested houses and shops. The few inhabitants of Ragadorn that you see appear a cheerless lot, their faces haggard and drawn. They shuffle through the gloom, hunched against the pouring rain, their eyes fixed on the cobblestones at their feet. Then you reach a junction where Axe Lane bends towards the north and another street heads off towards the east. Let's just go east then. This street seems dirtier and smellier than the one you have just been down. The cluttered window of a shop to your left catches your attention. In the window are many useful items, all of which bear a price tag. So we can buy stuff. Did we lose our backpack? No. We've got no weapon. We should probably get a broadsword. We've got 5 gold crowns. And they don't sell a broadsword. What's a blanket for? I think we're gonna need the money. Aren't we gonna... Do we need to buy a ticket or something? I don't know what the blanket is for. Let's just carry on. So we don't have money for the ticket. So we can go to the casino. Alright, let's do this then. Nice. Come on, come on, come on. Yes. Alright, you basically, as long as you can get this going, basically get really rich. Just put 1 gold at a time. Alright, so we get the ticket. We go. After nearly an hour, the coach stops at the shrine of Carolanane. It is said that this shrine is built upon the grave of King Aelin, first ruler of Duranor, and all around the shrine grow clumps of longspur. Sure, why not? Longspur is a delicious herb much sought after in the last lands for its healing properties. Alright, we'll take it, but I don't need to eat it. You can use it any time, even in battle. That's actually quite useful. It's basically a buffer. Oh, we're doing this again. Cost of a room for the night. Yeah, we have a ticket. We just won't eat, like, we'll heal again. And then the driver gets killed. We'll stay in the room. This happens, we don't eat the food. We know who it is, it's Parjan. -5. Fuck. That's really bad. Ooh, nice, we got a good hit there. What are we on? 14, okay, we're probably okay. There we go, but we're quite damaged. So we get his money. We want to escape. We have the camouflage, so we can hide. You can hide undetected in the hay cart until it is safe to come out. Sure, let's do that. When you are certain that the angry mob has passed, you jump from the hay wain and run stealthily along the street, dodging from one shadow to the next. To your left, there is a shop with a sign above the door. Cunio's Weaponsmithy. Sure, let's enter it. Nice. He's got a broadsword. That's what we need. It's expensive, but let's take it. Rear door? Sure. You can see a horse tethered to a post. Yeah, we'll take the horse. Right. Should probably... Oh, we're okay. Let's go right this time. After a few miles, the track becomes tangled and overgrown until all trace of it has completely disappeared. The ride becomes slow and difficult as you strain to avoid the bogs and potholes of this moor. After several hours, you reach the edge of Duranor Forest, and above the ferns you notice a tall watchtower. A spiral of smoke rises lazily from a hidden chimney. Sure, let's investigate. The more things we do, the more we heal. The area around the watchtower door has been cleared of foliage and the ground is well trodden. You are looking for a lock or keyhole in the ironclad door when it suddenly opens. Standing before you is a knight of the White Mountain, a broadsword held in front of his face. State your purpose and mark your words well. My steel will be my answer if you lie. Let's tell him the truth. He'll probably help us. The knight sheathes his broadsword and ushers you inside the tower. You follow him to a large room at the top of a flight of stone steps where a log fire blazes warmly. If you are who you claim to be, you must be in possession of the seal of Hamadal. Show it to me. Sure. His look of suspicion changes to one of surprise. I believed you to be a trickster, Kai Lord. I must confess that I had planned to teach you a lesson you would not have forgotten in a lifetime. Please forgive my doubts, but your story sounded so grave that I refused to believe it for fear of it to be true. I am sworn to the defense of the board and I cannot leave this tower, but I offer you any of my possessions if they may aid you on your quest. Well, let's take the healing potion. We've got a backpack already, haven't we? So, just take everything. We've got a broadsword, but we can take another broadsword. In case we lose one. Alright. Can we take another backpack? No. As you are about to leave the tower, he points out the direction you should take. When you reach the Rhine Rift, take the track northwards. You will come to a bridge guarded by the king's men. When they ask for the password, answer them with the word sunset. The road beyond the Rhine Rift leads to Portbacks. Godspeed, Lone Wolf. You thank the brave warrior and leave. You must abandon your horse at the watchtower, for it would be impossible to pass through the dense trees on horseback. Alright. You push on through the dense forest for nearly 3 hours before you discover a track heading north, running parallel to the Rhine Rift, whose rushing waters are over 1 mile deep. In the distance you spot a bridge that spans the dark water at a narrow point. A small hut with a flat roof has been erected in the center, on top of which stand 2 soldiers. A sign points across the bridge. Oh, let's cross the bridge. Soldiers quickly descend from the roof of the hut and grab their spears. They advance towards you, and one of them shouts, "Password, stranger!" Hello, Stormy. So have you had to restart yet? This book? Yeah, a few times. Oh, I haven't been keeping track of deaths. Actually, there weren't that many. Let's see. I died to the where's my death counter gone? Hang on, so we died only once this stream. We got really far into the book, then we died to a battle with someone. So we're on 8 deaths. Alright. So we know the password, so we can keep going. I meant the stream. I remember you just started this book last time, unless I missed one. Yeah. Still on book 2, yeah. The guards reluctantly lower their weapons and allow you to cross the bridge as you slip past. So I think we're about... We took a ship, got shipwrecked, ended up in Ragadorn. We took a coach. I guess we're around here. We're trying to get to Port Bax. Oh, we must have just crossed this river right here. That was the bridge. We're aiming to get to Hammerbow. I don't know if we'll get there this book. Once you are safely across the Rhine Rift, you quickly hurry on your way in case they change their minds and arrest you. After nearly an hour of walking along the forest road, you arrive at a junction where a signpost points to the east. Point Bax, 3 miles. At dusk on the 10th day of your quest, you experience your first sight of the magnificent city of Port Bax. Like a diamond set in the green velvet shore, the towers of the city glimmer in the pale light of waxing moon. To the north is the harbour and the formidable war fleet of the Druidese navy. Let's put some tavern music on. To the east, beyond the moss-covered city wall, stretches the forest of Duranor, and there on the crest of a hill stands a castle tall and proud, the crown and glory of this beautiful port. You enter Port Bax through an unguarded gate in the green city wall, and make your way through the darkening streets towards the harbour. As you turn into a tree-lined avenue, you notice the wide stone steps of a domed building to your right. You stop to read the brass plaque, City Hall. Should we visit City Hall? Go on then. We've got the seal, that's the important thing, to show that we have an important quest. Just inside the main door sits a kindly old man with a long beard. He is studying a huge leather-bound book that rests on a lectern before him. He has not noticed you enter the city hall. Alright, let's ask him. The Consulate of Summerland, he says in surprise, somewhat taken aback by your sudden appearance. Then recovering himself, he says, Why, of course. It is in Allen Square near the harbour. Turn right when you leave and right again at the end of the avenue. That will take you to the Red Gate. You'll need a red pass to enter, as the consulate is in the naval quadrant of the city. It's a restricted area. You ask the man how you can obtain a red pass. From the captain of the port watch, he says. You're obviously a stranger to Port Bax. There are a few indeed who do not know the answer to that question. The port watchtower is at the end of the avenue, just as you turn for the Red Gate. You thank the man and leave the city hall. So, if we want a red pass... We've got to go to the watchtower. So when we get to the end of the avenue, we can either go to Red Gate or we can go to the Watchtower. We want to go to the Watchtower. Alright. At the end of the avenue, the cobbled street turns abruptly to the right. Opposite this point is a tall, white stone building with a plaque above the door. As you can see that the cobbled street ends at a high stone wall. There is a large red gate in this wall and it is guarded by 2 soldiers. Beyond the gate, you can make out the masts of ships moored in the harbour. Alright, let's enter the watchtower. You are standing in a large empty hall. Opposite are 2 doors, each with a brass sign above them. Let's go to the red passes then. You enter a large room full of ledgers and files. A man wearing the uniform of Duranese naval officer is seated opposite at a large desk. He peers at you inquisitively from behind a huge book and says, "You must have pressing business in the naval quadrant to apply for a red pass at this late hour. I shall need to see your access papers and proof of your commanding officer's authorization." Well, we'll show him the seal. That's like as official as it gets. The man stares at the seal with a look of shocked dismay. Without saying a word, he gets up from his chair and beckons you to follow him up a flight of spiral stairs that leads to a domed chamber. Here you meet the captain of the port watch. He listens intently as you tell of the war in Summerland and of your urgent mission. "Issue a red pass immediately," he orders. "Top priority." You collect your red pass, leave the port watchtower, and hurry along the street towards the harbour guards. One of the guards steps forward and demands to see your pass. The soldier salutes and allows you to pass through the red gate. You walk into an open square lit by the tall beacons lining the quayside. To your relief, you sight the marble pillars of the Summerland consulate and the familiar sun flag of your country flying above it in a fresh night breeze. As you climb the stone steps, you are recognized by the Somlending guards on duty at the main door. They disappear inside and quickly return in the company of a tall, grey-haired official. His anguished expression suddenly changes to a smile of joy as he beholds your ragged Kai cloak and tunic. "Hope beyond hope! Thank the gods that you live, Kai Lord. The scant news that has reached us from the west has caused us great alarm." You are ushered inside and taken immediately to the envoy of Summerland, Lord Lieutenant Rygar. Your first meeting with the Lord Lieutenant comes as something of a shock. You had perhaps half expected him to be a servile old man, as are the envoys of the southern lands that plague your king's court with their delegations. The man clad in heavy chainmail standing before you is neither old nor servile. You are soon to learn that Lord Lieutenant Rygar is an exceptional man. Born of a Somlending father and a Duranese mother, he has become something of a legend in this city. In the last decade, he has led an alliance of the nations to victory against the invading ice barbarians of Cult. Wise in peace, fierce in war, you could not have wished for better company on your quest for a summer sword. Rygar orders that a sumptuous meal be served. It is by far the best food you have tasted since the war began. During the feast, you recall the events that have brought you to Portbacks and reflect on the daunting challenge that still lies before you. After the meal, Rygar sends for his physician, who attends to your wounds. His potions restore 6 endurance points. Then he advises you to sleep, or you are to leave with the Lord Lieutenant for Hamadal in the morning. Finally, someone offering to actually escort me instead of just sending me on my way, wishing us good luck and saying, "We're all counting on you. We'll all fail if you fall." Early next day, you are taken to an enclosed garden at the rear of the consulate, where Rygar and 3 of his best soldiers await you on horseback. They are to be your bodyguard and guides on the 230-mile ride to Hamadal. So we've got bodyguards and best soldiers. The streets of Portbacks are just beginning to come to life as you ride through the town. Passing under the moss-covered city gates, you now feel confident that your mission will succeed. For 3 days and nights, you have ridden along the highway as it follows its route up the river valley of the Doronon. Let's have a look at the map. We're going up this river valley. In the distance are the peaks of the Hamadal Mountains, one of the highest ranges in all Magnamund. Capital lies at the very center of those mountains. It is now the morning of the 14th day of your quest. You have made camp near a waterfall where the fast-flowing Doronon drops over 120 feet. You are about to leave when a group of 6 hooded riders appears on the forest highway above, blocking your exit from the camp. Lord Lieutenant Rygar demands that they let you pass, adding that you bear a royal dispatch. In Duranor, it is a treasonable offense to hinder a king's messenger. But unfortunately, the cloaked riders do not seem impressed by his warning, and they remain where they are. If you do not care for reason, perhaps our swords will turn your tails, says Rygar. He draws his sword and orders his men to attack. We use the Sixth Sense. Sixth Sense is so useful, we should just always have it. There is a strong aura of evil surrounding these cloaked riders. Your Kai sense warns you not to follow Rygar and his men on their impetuous charge. You shout a warning to them to stop attacking, but it is too late. You cannot be heard above their battle cries and the thundering hooves of their mounts. As Rygar and his men gallop nearer to the riders, one of the cloaked horsemen draws a black staff from beneath his robes. Fierce blue flame shoots from its tip and explodes beneath Rygar's horse, sending him head over heels into the dense undergrowth. Rygar's men furiously attack with their swords. Their sharp blades slice clean through their enemies' cloaks and bodies, and then you realize they are having no effect. For these are Helghast, fell captains of the Dark Lords. They have the ability to adopt human form, but they are invulnerable to normal weapons. Cloaked Staff-Bearer gives a hideous laugh that tears at your mind. He is using a very powerful Mind Blast against you. You know you are outnumbered by a superior enemy and you must act quickly if you are to survive this ambush at all. We can't aid Rygar's men. They can't be hurt by weapons. We don't have a special weapon. We're gonna have to dive for cover. You come to rest face downwards in a tangle of thick bracken. The ringing of steel and the horrible cries of the Helghast echo through the trees around you. You are stunned and cannot move until a hand grabs your arm and pulls you upright. It is Rygar. His face is bloodied and his armor battered and charred. We must flee these demons, Lone Wolf. Strength and steel will not avail us here. You glimpse the silhouette of 6 Helghast on the forest road above. Their minds bent on the slaughter of Rygar's men, they fail to see you both slip away under cover of the wooded hillside. For 6 hours you run without rest. The Helghast are on the highway and you are forced to make your way through the steep and wooded foothills to avoid the risk of capture. Many times you feel that you just cannot go on, that the pain and the fatigue are too much to bear. But each time you falter, you are spurred on by Rygar. You marvel at his endurance, for he is not a young man, and he is clothed in the heavy armor of a storm-lending knight. By nightfall you have reached the entrance to Tarnalen, the western tunnel through the Hamadal Mountains. The 3 tunnels of Duranor were excavated during the Age of the Black Moon, and each tunnel is over 40 miles long and passes through the huge circle of the Hamadal Range to the capital. The tunnels provide the only access to the city. Rygar sits beside you and takes some bread and meat from his pack. Eat this, Lone Wolf. You must sustain your strength for the journey to Hamadal. From here, you must venture alone through the Tarnalen. I shall remain here and hold the enemy back for as long as I have the strength to fight. Do not argue. That your mission should succeed is the only thing that matters. I remember this has an errata which was actually quite complicated, and it's one of the points of contention with the original copy of this book. I can't be willing to read it though, but we don't have the spear anyway, so I think we'll just use this. You bid Rygar farewell and enter Tarnalin. Over 100 feet in height and width, the tunnel runs to the capital on the far side of the Hamadal range. I remember this is as far as I got the first time I played this. We died pretty soon. Oh, we didn't take animal kinship this time. Reading ahead. And is lit by torches for its entire length. The highway through the mountain is usually alive with the traffic of merchants to and from Port Bax, yet now the entrance and interior are deserted except for an overturned fruit wagon. As you walk deeper into Tarnalin, a doubt nags at you. Had the Helghast arrived here first? You have been walking for half an hour when you see a strange creature on top of a wagon in the road ahead. It is 2 feet high and resembles an overgrown marsh rat. You assume it is some sort of tunnel-dwelling rodent until you notice that it is wearing a splendid jacket of patched leather and carrying what appears to be a spear. As you get nearer, it suddenly turns to face you. Its whiskered nose is sniffing the air and its bright black eyes are peering into the gloom. It sees you and scampers off into the darkness of a smaller tunnel to your left. Follow it. You chase the furry creature as it hurries along a narrow, twisting passage for nearly 10 minutes, and are about to give up the chase when the passage opens out into a huge torchlit cavern. A stunning sight greets your eyes. The cavern houses an entire colony of these strange creatures, all busy sorting through and examining a vast pile of strange objects littering the center of the hall. Creature much larger than the others, dressed in a magnificent robe of patchwork silk, screams an order in their strange language. All of these furry creatures arm themselves with spears and swords that look as if they have been crafted from broken wagons, spokes, and broom handles. With a strange battle cry that sounds like gashgis, dashgis, they charge towards you. Your curiosity soon gives way to the realization that you must evade them or be trampled to death by the sheer weight of their numbers. Now, I was considering taking the animal kinship. You turn and sprint along the narrow corridor until their angry cries begin to fade. You reach the entrance to where the passage connects with this main tunnel and continue your journey from there. You've been walking along the deserted tunnel for a further half hour when the highway splits in two. I don't know, go left. Ahead you can see a passenger wagon similar in design to those that use the coast roads of Ragadan. Horses have been cut free and it appears to be deserted. You notice the bodies of 3 soldiers lying beneath it. Their uniforms are heavily bloodstained. Use the sixth sense then. Your sense warns you that the wagon contains an evil presence. Let's go back then. You have walked for nearly a mile along this deserted tunnel when you see a flight of steps cut into the rock face to your left. They lead to a platform which runs the length of the tunnel ceiling. It is used to service the torches. Your high sense warns you that there is something evil hiding in the darkness of the platform. Alright, let's... Oh, we don't want to go back to the left part. Sprint past it then. You pass the stone steps and continue along the highway. You have just passed under the platform when you hear a noise above you. You stop and stare upwards, but you can see nothing in the gloom of the tunnel ceiling. Keep moving! There could be something falling on us. Uh-oh. I think this is where, as far as I got the very first time I played this game. And we don't have the spear. Suddenly, from out of the darkness, there is a blood-chilling cry. You find yourself staring into the glowing eyes of a Helghast. As it tries to close its fingers around your throat, you scream in terror and fall to the ground. The hideous creature tears at your tunic, rending the cloth with its black claws. It may be of some consolation to learn that your death was mercifully swift. The Helghast's fingers tore and burnt their way through your throat within a few seconds, but now the seal of Hamadal is on its way to the Dark Lord city of Helgadad. We brought the seal right to their doorstep. Your life and quest come to a tragic end here. So we needed the spear, but there wasn't even an option. Where did we get the spear the first time? Let's update the death counter. Spear we got from... oh, the guy that was stabbed with it. Alright, so after we killed a priest, we ran away, we took a horse, and then there was a fork in the road and we went left, and I think that led us to wherever the spear was. Seems you need the spear here, unless you do something with those animals. So we start again. Oh my god. 0 combat skill. We're just not going to be fighting this time. Let's go camouflage. 6th sense, always. Healing, I guess? Camouflage, 6th sense, healing. Don't bother with weapon skill. Animal kinship. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're just gonna avoid fighting altogether. Tracking. Let's try tracking. Alright, well we don't have a... we don't want to fight. So we'll take... if we take the chainmail waistcoat, we'll probably lose it in the sea. And the shield is good, but we don't want to fight, but it's just good to have the shield anyway. Healing potion, I guess? What does the chainmail waistcoat do? Adds 4 endurance potions to your total. So it's better to have that than the healing potion, really. Even though we'll lose it if we fall in the sea. Alright, we'll just take the waistcoat. Alright. So, we deal with this guy. We let's not do any of these options this time. Let's just not throw him that we're Kai. And then we fight him anyway. Get hit a couple of times. Now we can elude. Alright, now we are on the ship. Set sail. We encounter a wreckage. Uh-oh. We've got pirates. Shattered beams, pieces of planking, and torn sails litter the white-flecked waves. It is all that remains of a merchant ship. But then suddenly you notice a body clinging to a broken hatch cover. The rope ladder is quickly lowered and the poor man is brought aboard. Pirates, is all he says before collapsing to the deck. The man is wrapped in a large blanket and taken below. He has suffered many wounds and is close to death. This crime bears the mark of the Lakuri pirates the captain confides in you, but it is unusual to run across them in these waters. They must be in search of a rich cargo to sail so far from their tropical islands. As the ship resumes its course for Durinor, you cannot help but wonder if that rich cargo is you. Alright. And then we get the fire. The shout fire. And then this all happens. And we follow him. And then we eat with the captain. And play the game. There's a stalemate. Okay. And then... oh, don't signal the fishing boat because they just steal all our stuff. Swim. We probably lose the... oh, we lose everything in our backpack. Don't need through. Let's try heading west this time. We've been here before, haven't we? You are woken during the night by the weight of something on your chest. You slowly open your cloak and are horrified to see a sand snake nestling beneath. Focusing your powers of concentration on the snake's head, you will it to slither away in search of food. Slowly but surely, your psychic suggestion works, and the snake eventually uncoils itself and vanishes into the long grass. Breathing a sigh of relief, you decide it would be safer to climb the tree and spend the rest of the night above ground. Although you awake to a cold and rain-swept dawn, the branches of the tree and your kai cloak have kept you warm and dry during the night. Looking along the coast road, in the distance you can see a wagon heading towards you. Oh, this is the wagon. Alright, we'll go on the roof. And then, blah blah blah. We get into Ragaddon. We'll do what we did before. Go east. Don't want to buy anything. A blanket? What even is a blanket? We can afford it. Why not? We should get a weapon. Just get a dagger, because we don't have a skill in weapons, but it does still stop you from getting a -4 penalty. Alright, we don't have the money for a ticket, so we can go to the casino, play the game, and just play until we win. This is rigged in our favor. It's a stupid casino. They're gonna go bankrupt. There we go, now we're rich. Buy a ticket. We pay the toll. Oh, and then we got this whole thing again. And then they try to poison us. Don't eat the meal. And then we know it's this guy on the left, so we attack him. Oh man, we're not going to be good at fighting him though. But we have to. Damn. Okay, we might actually win this. We get all this money. Then we escape by the rear door. We have the camouflage, so we can do that. Alright, I'm going to choose to leave the... We'll take the horse and leave the village, because that led us to the spear. No. What did we do? Yeah, that's what we did. Okay. And then go left. Then we do aid the people in trouble. Now, this is where we get the spear. You have the Kai discipline of healing and healing potions or something else, but trace it. Okay, we can do that. Alright. What's going on? Alright. During the period of your Kai training, your masters taught you many of the languages and dialects of northern Maganamand, one of which was Shal. The creatures in this clearing are Shals, and they are screaming at you that the wounded man is not a man at all. They say he is a Helghast, a powerful, shape-changing servant of the Dark Lords. They're probably telling the truth, because we fought him before. And we died to him. You search in his pack and are horrified to find that it contains a scroll of human skin upon which a message has been written in a strange runic script. The only word that you can make out is Kai. You also find an evil-looking dagger with a black blade and a block of golden obsidian. These items bear the signs of the Dark Lord's craft. Something is very wrong here. You drop the pack as quickly as if it were red hot and turn to mount your horse. To your dismay, you find it is no longer there. The Shals must have stolen it. Wearily, you realize you will now have to continue your journey on foot. But I want the spear. So we didn't get the spear because we didn't. No, I chose a different option. Alright. You have been walking for nearly 2 hours when you reach the peak of a hill and see the Durinor forest stretched out before you. The road bears eastwards and enters the trees at the point where a large wooden tower has been built. You can see the silhouette of a soldier on guard. He looks impaled. Let's go check it out. You are less than 20 yards from the tower when the guard steps forward and demands to know your business. You notice that the soldier is wearing the red coat of Journey's man-at-arms, and you have reached the border of the Durinor. Use the sixth sense. You can sense that this guard is a loyal Journey's soldier. If you attempt to bribe him, he would be likely to consider it a grave insult and attack you. Hey, show him the Hamidal, the seal. Alright, we're back here. And then we get to City Hall. Use tracking. You try to remember some of the stories told you by an old Kai master called White Hawk. He was envoy to Portbacks for many years, and he knew and loved the city as well as any native Durinese. You recall him saying that the consulate overlooked Allen Square in the naval quadrant of the city. There's a sign to your left pointing along the avenue. Naval quadrant, half a mile. Certain this is the right direction, you walk confidently along the tree-lined avenue. Oh, this again. So we want to get the red pass, don't we? So we've got the red pass. Go here. Go here. Then we go here. We have the sixth sense. We're back here again. We don't have the spear. We can't help Rygar. Go here. Here. We don't have the magic spear, so we go here. We can talk to the mouse, I suppose. You recognize the creature to be a Nudnik, an intelligent but mischievous mountain-dwelling native of Durinor. The Nudniks inhabit a maze of smaller shafts and fissures that honeycomb the Hamidal Mountains and live off whatever they can steal from the merchant caravans that travel to Tarnalin. It occurs to you that if you can catch the Nudnik, you may be able to learn if the Helghast are hiding within the tunnel. Alright, let's follow it. And then we reach the hall full of them. Let's do this. Whoa, this is interesting. large nudnik wearing a brightly coloured cloak of patchwork silk orders several of his people to arm themselves and drive you out of the hall. When you speak to them in their own language, a hush of astonishment fills the cavern. Never before have they encountered a human being who could actually speak their tongue. Some of them it is too much to grasp, and they stare at you open-mouthed, their furry little arms hanging loosely by their sides. Then the large nudnik addresses you, saying he is the leader of this colony. His name is Gashgis, and he welcomes you and invites you to join him on top of a raised platform in the center of the chamber. You's not a Durinese man, eh? Where's the use comes from, eh? Questions Gashgis in his strange nudnik accent. You tell him that you are a somlending on your way to Hamadal. He looks at you nervously and then asks, "You's not a black screamers, eh?" You realize that the black screamers that Gashgish refers to are Helghast. You learn that 2 of them arrived in Tarnalin over 2 hours ago and caused quite a panic in the main tunnel. Gashgish knows where they are lying in ambush, waiting for you to appear. "I'll show you the way past them, eh?" he offers. You nod your agreement and follow him down the steps of the platform to the hall below. The Nudniks seem to have overcome their shock and react to you now as if you are one of them. Before you leave, a pretty female Nudnik offers you some food for your journey ahead. There is enough for 2 meals. You thank her for her generosity and then follow Gashgis along one of the many passages leading out of the cavern. After an hour of trekking through the dark, he stops and points towards a shaft of light that is pouring through a crevice in the far distance. "User goes left, user be safe," he says. You thank Gashgis for his help and silently thank your Kai masters who taught you the skill of animal kinship. The many years of instruction have probably saved your life. You squeeze through a fissure in the rock and drop 3 feet to the pathway below. You are thinking how kind the Nudniks were when you discover that they have stolen all your gold. Whatever, they gave me something more valuable than gold. A way to avoid those Helghast. You have covered nearly 3 miles when you see a group of wagons in the distance. They have been strung out across the highway to form a barricade. Soldiers in red uniforms line the roofs of these wagons and a large crowd of people have gathered behind them. You can hear their excited chatter echoing along the tunnel. As you get closer, there is a sudden silence as all eyes turn to stare at you. A detachment of 10 soldiers led by a knight whose shield bears the royal arms of Duranar advances towards you. Of course I'm not going to attack them. Cautiously, the soldiers surround you and take your weapons and backpack. The knight steps forward and raises the visor of his helm. "Who are you? What is your purpose in Tarnalin?" he demands in a gruff voice. You tell him that you are a Kai Lord from Summerland on an urgent mission to King Aelin. He seems unconvinced by your words until you show him the seal of Hamadal. Then, without hesitation, he orders his men to return your belongings and ushers you through the wall of wagons. Beyond, you can see a horse-drawn carriage waiting in the center of the crowded tunnel. "Back to Hamadal without delay," he orders the driver, and you are thrown back in your seat as the coach moves up at breakneck speed. You soon learn that the knight is Lord Axim of Rhyme, commander of King Aelin's personal bodyguard. He was on his way to Port Bax when the Helghast entered Tarnalin. He and 10 soldiers were the only ones to survive a deadly encounter with these evil creatures. During your ride through Tarnalin, you must eat a meal or lose 3 endurance points. The journey to the capital will take 5 hours, and you are advised by Lord Axim to get some rest. As you slowly drift off to sleep, you begin a dream about the Summerset. You picture a triumphant return to Holmgard and the defeat of the Dark Lord siege. Perhaps it will be a good omen of events to come. We've got full health, we don't need to eat. It is the early morning of the 15th day of your quest when you open your eyes to the breathtaking spectacle of Hamadal, the mountain city. The capital of Durinor, unlike other cities in the Last Lands, does not need man-made fortifications. So we're here now, Hammerdown. The encircling peaks of the Hammerdal Range offer a far more secure protection to the people within. Carriage speeds through the lush farmlands surrounding the city with its many towers and wide streets. On a hill, in the very center of Hammerdal, stands the King's Tower, a magnificent structure of glass and stone. As the carriage halts at the tower gates, you suddenly realize for the first time that as a wielder of Summersword, the Summersword, your destiny is to become part of the oldest legend of the Last Lands. King Aelin IV sits alone in his domed tower, viewing his mountain domain through one of the many portals of tinted glass. You and Lord Axim are formally announced as you enter the chamber, and you respectfully bow to his majesty. Then Lord Axim removes the seal of Hammerdal from your finger and walks over to the king's side. For nearly an hour they talk, their somber faces reflecting the seriousness of the situation. There is a short pause of silent meditation, and King Aelin suddenly rises from his throne and addresses you for the first time. Alas, the Dark Lords are woken once more, and once more does Summerland come in search of our aid. I had prayed that my reign would be remembered as a time of peace and fulfillment, but in my heart I knew it was to be otherwise. The king removes a golden key from the pocket of his white robe and inserts it in a marble dais standing in the center of the chamber. A gentle humming fills the room as the stone cover slides back to reveal the hilt of a golden sword. Take the sword, Lone Wolf. It is foretold that only a true son of Summerland can release the powers that lie within its blade, but I don't have sword skill. As you grasp the glowing hilt, a tingling sensation runs up your arm and radiates throughout your body. The power coursing through your body so overwhelms your senses that you become oblivious to your surroundings. You instinctively raise the blade above your head where a shaft of sunlight suddenly catches upon its very tip and floods the chamber with a binding white glow. At that moment, the true power of the Summersword is revealed to you. This weapon was forged long before the Somlending. The Durinese, or the Dark Lords, dwelt in the Last Lands. Its makers were of a race that men would now call gods. To release the power that it contains, only as Kylord may wield it. Should it be used in combat by anyone who is not a Kylord, its power will fade and be lost forever. When used in combat, the Summersword will add 8 points to your combat skill. 10 points if you possess the Kai discipline of weapon skill with swords. It has the ability to absorb any magic that is used against its bearer, and it doubles the total of all endurance points lost by undead enemies in combat. It is the only weapon in all of Magnamund that can kill a Dark Lord, and for this reason the Dark Lords are bent on thwarting your quest. You now realize you hold the only power in Magnamund that can save your people. Slowly, the light starts to fade and you become aware of Lord Axim's hand upon your shoulder. Come, Lone Wolf, there is much to prepare for your return to Summerland. You sheathe the Summersword in its jeweled scabbard and follow Lord Axim as he leaves the King's chamber. Okay. The muster of the army and the preparation of the Durinese fleet takes 14 days to complete, during which time you remain as a guest of the king in Hammerdal. As each day passes, you despair for your besieged countrymen of Holmgard and pray that they have enough strength to resist the Dark Lords until you return. Every day of your reluctant exile, you devote long periods to exercise and meditation. You are also visited by a Journey's herb warden called Madin Randalin, who is famous throughout the Last Lands for his knowledge and skill in the healing arts. He restores all the endurance points, blah blah blah, and he gives you a potent Lamspur potion that will restore 5 endurance points if swallowed after combat. Okay. He is also the bearer of some sad news. The body of Lord Lieutenant Rygar was found in the forest near to the entrance to Tarnalen. He was killed by a Helghast. Yeah, well, we knew that. You have noticed during your rigorous training exercises with the Summer Sword that your high discipline of Sixth Sense has become more sensitive than ever before. You knew exactly what Madin Rendalin's sad news was long before he actually told you. You may find that your improved Sixth Sense will be an important advantage upon your return to Holmgard. Interesting. Has that changed anything? Not really, but we have an improved Sixth Sense apparently. We still have the ticket. It is the early in the morning of the 33rd day of your quest, when you ride into Port Vax with Lord Axum at your side. Preparations for war have been completed. The galleons of the Journey's war fleet lie at anchor in the harbour, impatiently awaiting the order to set sail for Summerland. On board each ship are many brave soldiers from the Mountain Kingdom, a tough army of skilled warriors eager to face the Dark Lords in battle. They can't fight them, they need the sword. Each man has sworn to avenge their besieged allies or die in the attempt. You are to sail back to Holmgard aboard the flagship Duranor, a warship whose great curving prow and tall masts emphasize its sheer power and strength. You and Lord Axum are taken aboard and welcomed by Admiral Calvin, commander of the fleet, and then the fleet prepares to set sail. In less than an hour, the harbour lies far behind you. The domes of Port Vax are now merely dots on the horizon. For 3 days and nights, the mighty fleet of Duranor steers swiftly towards the Holm Gulf, a strong wind filling the sails of the warships. But although the voyage is fast, the soldiers' confidence and eagerness for battle has slowly faded, as if their will has been drained by some invisible vampire. Lord Axum is close to despair. This black mood that haunts our decks is the evil works of the Dark Lords. I know of their power to turn a man's mind, but the curse that befalls us is a sorcery we cannot even see to destroy. How I pray that this spell would end, for even if we arrive at our destination, fear that we are too weak in mind to break our foe. As if in answer to his prayer, the black curse seems to be lifted from the fleet with the dawning of the next day, but the spell is replaced by a threat far deadlier. Uh-oh. A veil of sea fog has rolled across the still ocean from the broken spine of land known as the Kurlunden Isles. Strange dark shapes hide within this mist. They are growing larger, and slowly the distinct outlines of ships become plain. Prepare for battle! The Admiral's cry is repeated along the many decks of the Journey's fleet. All hands on deck! As the black ships approach through the fog, a horrific sight befalls you. They are death hulks, sunken ships crewed by the living corpses of drowned sailors. They have been summoned to the surface by great wizardry, and they are closing for battle. Suddenly the fog vanishes, and you can now see that the death hulks bar the entrance to the home gulf. In the center of the line is their sinister flagship. Swiftly it sails towards you, a huge ram protruding from its black prow. As it rips its way through the hull of the Duranor, you hear the Admiral's last desperate order. Abandon ship! You are now in the thick of the enemy fleet and Duranor is sinking fast. Oh, for fuck's sake. You can't just jump onto the deck of the Death Hulk flagship. Oh, I feel like one of these is insta-death. If you wish to dive into the sea and try to swim for another Journey's ship, sure. As you surface, you see that battle now rages all around you, and the sea is choked with the bodies of the dead and drowning. You manage to swim 30 yards and scramble over the rail of Durrani's warship. Here, a bitter struggle is being waged against a long death hulk that is grappled alongside. The zombies have clambered aboard and are slaughtering the terror-struck Durrani soldiers. I want to fight. We can't, even with the summer sword, the skill's really bad. Jump onto the long death hulk? Alright. As you advance along the deck, the hideous creatures turn and flee from the golden light of your sword. You notice something strange about this death hulk, something familiar, but you're not quite sure what it is. Suddenly, a ghastly voice behind you cries out your name. You raise the summer sword and spin around to face the voice. The sight that confronts you fills your senses with a mortal terror. You are staring into the hollow eye sockets of a walking corpse. Twisted and figured though he is, you recognize Captain Kelman, who in fact standing upon the deck of the Green Scepter, which sank during the storm 28 days ago, and which has been raised from its murky grave this very morning to join the Death Hulk fleet. The dead captain extends a broken hand towards you. A ghastly voice begs you to lay down the summer sword. Put down your sword, and my soul will be spared this torment. Oh. If we fight him, we're probably going to lose because our combat is really bad. But placing the summer sword upon the deck just because he says so? But who's speaking to us? Is Captain Kelman's soul still managing to, I think we'll place the summer sword. Oh! As you lay the golden sword upon the deck, the zombie captain dives at you and pins you down. His strength is unnatural. As he sinks a dagger into your throat, the last thing you hear is a hideous laugh of victory. Your quest in life ends here. Like, eventually we're gonna have to fight, so we need combat skill. Let's start the book from scratch. I was trying to avoid combat, but that's even more deadly apparently. We got so far. Wow, this is a really long book actually. The first book was shorter. Alright, let's try and... Combat skill is 3, endurance is 0. Oh boy. Alright, what do we want? Always take 6 cents, I think, and healing. There's no point taking weapon skill, because there's like a minimal chance of getting sword. But sword is the one we need, we're gonna switch to anyway, so... Don't bother with weapon skill. Mind Blast is good. Well, we don't want to fight though, but we have to fight. It seems like it's gonna happen eventually. I'm gonna take Mind Blast. Camouflage. Animal kinship to get through that tunnel. Alright. We'll take a shield. And... we'll end up losing the waistcoat, so... You can't use the healing potion in combat? Oh, that makes it much worse then. The healing potion is not actually... The only point of having a healing potion is to heal in combat, surely. After combat, you're fine. We'll take the waistcoat, but we know we're going to lose it anyway. Alright, let's begin. Alright, so we do this again. we don't do any of these things. Alright, now, should we just fight him? Yeah, well, we have to. Oh boy, we're already quite hurt. 13 versus 20. Alright, we'll elude. Let me get on the ship. The captain orders the ship to go alongside and pick up the 3 men. They are fishermen from the Summerland port of Tyso. Their boat was attacked last night by pirates, and they are the only survivors. You give them food and warm clothing, and they can barely hold back their tears of gratitude. As you prepare your journey to continue your journey to Duranor, one of the men offers you a fine sword as a token of his thanks. If you wish to accept this gift, alright, yeah, sure, we'll take it. I mean, we should have a weapon. I should have taken a weapon, because otherwise you have -4. Alright, we do this again. We shout fire. We follow him. Then we random number. Go here. Eat with the captain. Play the game. We lose 10 gold crowns? Damn, that's actually a lot. Then we get here. Here. Go east, I suppose. Get on the roof. Alright, we're good for health, we're gonna take that. Now we're here, so we go east. Don't want to buy anything. I don't know what the blanket's for, but now we go to the casino, play the game. Play the game until we're like super rich. There we go, now we're super rich. Go here. Pay the tax, and then we meet these guys. We have a ticket. Hang on, this is different now. One of the wheels jams in a deep rut, and 3 of the large wooden spokes are shattered. You are forced to stop and replace the wheel before you can continue to port backs. You volunteer to help the driver by levering the coach axle with a small tree trunk, so that the spare wheel can be slid into position. You're pushing down on the stout branch with all your strength, when the horses suddenly rear up and race forward. The trunk springs back and catches you square in the face, knocking you backwards to the ground. You are stunned and you lose 2 endurance points. The driver is not so lucky. The coaches run over him. As the poor man dies in your arms, his last words are, "No accident, I saw." Alright. Oh, they reuse this page, regardless of how he dies. Okay. And we do this. Don't want to eat the food. And we have to fight the priest. Alright. Oh, damn. Okay, good hit there. Ooh. Okay, he's dead. Yep, take the money. Escape by the rear door. Ooh. Horse. Oh fuck, I shouldn't have done that. We're almost dead. Okay. We go left, right? We just ignore them. Because what do we get from this? Like, we might get the spear, but then you have to fight the guy you took the spear from. Ignore them. Okay, so we go to the watchtower, we show him the seal, he takes us to Port Vax. We go to harbor, go to the watchtower, get the red passes. When we have a red pass, we go here. We get taken here. Then they die, you die, we dive for cover. We don't have the spear. We go here, we meet the animals. They take all our money. He gives us the meals though. Then we raise our hands and walk towards them. Alright, we can do that. And now we're in Hamadal, right? Yeah. So we got here pretty quickly now. We've got the Summer Sword, Potion. And then we're on the ship, and then this happens. Oh, God. Let's see. We're still not great. Do we want to fight the captain? I mean... Put the shield. It helps. Aim blast. Alright, we'll do that again. We'll dive into the sea. Jump onto the long death hulk. When we encounter him, we'll attack him. Oh, nice! Combat ratio 8. He's not that hard, actually. Alright. And not only that, but we double all the enemy losses. But he's immune to Mind Blast. Okay, fine. As you raise the glowing blade, the zombie captain pulls an evil-looking dagger from inside his tattered jacket. You must fight him to the death. Wow. We one-shot him. It's doubled, so... You look up from the dead captain to see the macabre faces of the other crew members. They are surrounding you. There are at least 20 of them, and they are armed with cutlasses and axes. I mean, 20 of them is too much. Let's attempt to escape. Unfortunately for you, the rope has been nearly cut in two by a sword blow, and is likely to snap under your weight. Oh god, is this going to be a coin flip? Luck is with you, for you land safely on the deck of the Calcom, a Journey's warship. The soldiers here have been involved in a desperate battle, but have fought off the enemy and are cutting the grappling ropes that hold the ship to a death hold. From out of the smoke strides Lord Axon, his face bloodied and his shield badly scarred. Thank the gods you are alive, Lord Lone Wolf. The fight has been bitter and our losses are high, but I am heartened indeed to see you standing before me now, he says, and leads you to the ship's rear. Look yonder. Their flagship is ablaze. Through the fog of war, you can see that the huge death hulk is slowly sinking beneath a plume of dense black smoke. The Calcom is eventually freed and slowly it maneuvers out of the tangle of wreckage. The wind begins to stir, filling its tattered sails and carrying away the smoke of battle. Lord Axon orders the Royal Arms of Duranor to be hoisted aloft so that other ships can rally to the Calcom. For the first time since the battle began, you can now see the other Duranese ships. It is an amazing sight, for as the enemy flagship sinks beneath the waves, so every death hulk on the horizon returns to its watery grave. Their sorcery is broken. We have won this battle, says Lord Axon. And within a few minutes, not one of the death hulks remains afloat. "70 Duranese warships left Port Vax, but only 50 now enter the Holm Gulf. The battle has claimed many brave men, including Admiral Calfin, who died aboard the flagship Duranor, the first ship to be sunk. But despite the heavy loss, a great victory has been won. A victory which inspires the Duranese soldiers with new strength, so that the past ordeal of both the voyage and the battle are now forgotten. As their optimism and determination return, All are eager to reach Holmgard and raise the siege. It is dusk on the 37th day of your quest when you sight the spires of Holmgard on the horizon. The city still stands defiantly against the army of Dark Lords, although constantly under siege. Flickering in the darkness, you can see the small fires which burn throughout the capital. The confident Lord Akshin joins you at the prow. The moonless sky will aid us this night. We shall enter the harbour unseen. Come the dawn, my men will scatter the wretched foe like dead leaves upon the wind of a storm. As you enter Holmgard harbour at the head of the journey's fleet, you unsheathe the summersword and prepare to fulfill your destiny. Bloody hell. Holmgard has suffered much since your departure. Many of the shops and houses you remember passing on your way to the quay are little more than heaps of ashes. The Dark Lord's army, with their evil engines of war, surround the walls, and the flaming arcs of fireballs shooting through the air continually light the night sky as they rain down on the streets below. People fight the fire as best they can, but they are hungry and exhausted and close to surrender. First, as it enters the harbour, the fleet is mistaken for the enemy, and cries of despair can be heard all along the quay. But as the first of the soldiers set foot in the city and unfurl the royal arms of Durinor, the news of your return spreads quickly. The cries of despair have changed to a chorus of cheers. The Kai Lord has returned! You are standing at the top of the great watchtower, high above the main gate of the city, when the first light of dawn creeps slowly over the horizon. Thousand upon thousand of the black-clad enemy are massed around the city wall, huddled like beetles in the trenches that cover the plain. In the midst of this horde, a great red tent has been erected, bearing the symbol of a broken skull. It is the mark of Zagana, Lord of Kag, the Dark Lord of Helgedar. His great ambition is the destruction of Holmgard, his fiercest desire to lead his army to victory over the House of Ulnar and claim Summerland for his own. But victory is not to be his this day. Raising the summersword high above your head, a shaft of dawn sunlight catches upon the tip of the golden sword, and a brilliant flash of blinding white flame runs the entire length of the blade. The power of the summersword electrifies you. Your senses reel, and now your body reacts instinctively. You lower the summersword and point the blade towards the tent of Lord Zagana. There is a mighty roar as the power of the sunsword is unleashed in a searing white beam. The tent explodes, and a brilliant fireball of white flame mushrooms skyward. A long and terrible cry rends the air. It is Lord Zagana. The leader of the evil army is no more. Nice, just kill him without a battle. Gripped with fear and panic, the vast black army rise up and run in chaos from the city wall. The impossible has happened. Their invincible master is slain. Let me just look at the action shot. So in theory, we could just click this X and throw away the summersword. But, like, it assumes we have it. Again, the summersword has returned to defeat them. The army and the allies of Durinor ride out of the city gates in pursuit of the panic-stricken enemy as they run blindly towards the Durnkrag Mountains. The victory is yours, Holmgard is saved, and the murder of the Kai has finally been avenged. But for you, Lone Wolf, life of higher adventure has only just begun. The new challenge awaits you and the Summersword in Book 3 of the Lone Wolf series, The Caverns of Cult. We'll just make a save before we switch books, just in case. Wait, how do I... We made it to book 3. Alright. I'll save this for next time. Can't go on for hours and hours for this, or my throat just gets sore from talking so much. Even though I would like to, it's very fun. Maybe I should switch to Alan Wake. Alright, leave this till next time. Let me just... I already saved it. We'll just save again for this book. Use this. I don't know what it does, but we'll use it. So what's the next book? Caverns of Cult. Okay. So we're gonna... Well, let's not read it now. We've still got all this stuff. Crappy skill, terrible endurance points, no money. I mean, this is a good set of skills. We've got the weapon Summer Sword, which is a very good weapon, and I don't think there's any point taking weapon skill anymore. We've still got the shield. Let's try and hold on to that as long as we can, because +2 combat skill. We've got that potion. We've got a ticket to Portpax. I don't know why we still have that. We've still got the red pass, whatever. Cool. Alright, let's save that. Let me just have a look at the list. So we are on number 3, Caverns of Cult. 3 of 29. Slowly getting there. That tunnel is where I failed the very first time I played this. Or with the little mice, because I have to fight the wraiths or whatever they're called, and I didn't have the spear. It's annoying. It seems animal kinship is the ideal way to play that. It'd be fun to root out the optimal path through the books. I think someone's already done that, and they did a really, really detailed flowchart, which is really cool. And it maps out the optimal path through each of the books. So I'll probably read that for these first 2 books to see what is recommended for, like, if you were to speedrun the series. I don't think anyone's ever done that before. Maybe I could be the first. Oh, that sounds like a pain for 29 books. It's a very doable thing though, because this Sky Chronicles follows the rules correctly, so you can't really cheat. And if you die, you have to reset the book. Like, I assume we're not... Well, in theory, in speedrunning, normally you allow save loading. So you could have a category where you don't do that, because otherwise it's kind of... Well... Allowing save loading is also valid, I suppose. Be a very strange speedrun, but it's... I mean, mechanically, it can work. Alright. Right, that's it then. Next time we'll carry on with the Caverns of that Cult. I'm going to switch the stream to Alan Wake in a couple of minutes. I'll do a bit of Alan Wake, maybe only like an hour or 2. Thank you, Stormy. Yeah, it was, well, this stream was 2.5 hours, and I spent... Last stream, I spent probably another half an hour on this book. I can't remember now. It's definitely a longer book in terms of numbers of pages than the first book. Yeah. Well, see you next time.